Well, hey everyone, this is video 2 out of 3 here today as we're talking about is my listing overpriced? And the answer is probably right now, unless you've had a price adjustment or unless you're in kind of a certain sweet spot of the market. And we talked about in the last video, we said, how do you know? This whole idea of no man's land. So now let's talk about the conversation we might have with our existing sellers today. The third video is one I've already recorded, and it'll be in the playlist with this one, and I'll go ahead and relabel it 3 of 3, which really addresses the initial conversation that you have from the beginning with the seller so that we can get the right price 90% of the time right from the get-go by helping the seller understand the dynamics of the market. But right now, we're going to talk about the listing you have right now that really could stand a price adjustment. We know that we're maybe caught in no man's land, or maybe we're even outside the market. And what I would do to cue this up with a seller, I would say, hey, I'd give them a call and I'd say, hey, I'd like to schedule a meeting with you. I've been watching market trends, and there's some pronounced trends in the market right now that I want to go over with us to really look at our strategy about how we compete in this market. We've been on the market at this point, however many days it's been, and yet there's a very pronounced trend that I want to sit down and go over with you to make sure we're making all the right choices so that we can get you to blank by blank. Blank is their motivation. The other blank is by when they want to be there. And you'll see in a moment that time is not their friend. So even if they have a lot of time, that may not be ideal. So I'm going to schedule a consultation. And when I get there, I'm going to say, thanks for having me over. First, let's review your motivation to sell the home. When we first met, this was our goal. Is that still the goal? Is this still the time frame? Perfect. Motivation is everything in today's market, and making decisions. Remember, they're not hiring you to sell a house. They're hiring you to solve a problem. And the house is, or maybe I should say, to accomplish a goal, to achieve an outcome, which includes selling the house so that they can do whatever they're going to do next. And so that deeper motivation besides just selling the house is really critical here, because that's what we're here to help them accomplish. Give them the right guidance so they can accomplish what it is they desire to accomplish. So now we sit down, we've reviewed motivation. Let me go to screen share. And I may actually go and draw this out for them. I'm not going to pull up a slide. I want to draw it out and say, here, let me tell you what we're experiencing in the market right now. It's really revealed itself in the last, the data of the last 4 months or so. There's really 3 distinct markets right now. There are homes that are completely out of the market. They're not getting activity. They're not getting showings, maybe 1 or 2 sporadically, and they're losing out to other homes that are perceived better value. Then there's this place called no man's land. And no man's land is where it feels like we're in the market because we're getting some activity. And I kind of feel like this is maybe where we are right now, or maybe they're outside the market, whichever one it really is. We're kind of competing, and yet it feels like we're a bridesmaid more than a bride. Nobody's taken us to the altar yet, but however you want to say that, say it your way. And there's a distinct number of homes that are in the market. These are attracting, offers, in some cases still multiple offers, because they're really packaged and competitive in the marketplace. And I want to talk to you about strategy and some of the trends, some of the things that are going to influence maybe our strategy and price if we could. And so I'm going to shift gears and let me stop sharing this. And then I'll say, let me share with you some research that I've done. And I guess first, before I get into that, I'd like to share with you what really are the factors that are influencing the market today. And if we're thinking about this price reduction conversation, let me go to my document camera. And I'm going to pull this out, and I'm not necessarily going to write Intelligent Seller's Guide to Pricing up here. That's for your benefit. That's what I call this. And what I might do is let me kind of detail some things that are influencing maybe the decisions that we would make today. And I'm going to draw this out. No PowerPoints. We're drawing it out because we're educating. We're not selling. And so I'm going to draw 3 vertical lines. And so right now we can think of pricing is that there's really 3 prices for every home. There's premium, there's market or retail, and there's wholesale. And what influences where we price a home, and I'm going to go through some trends that I'm noticing right now, is what the trend of the market is. So the trend is either towards an improving market or towards a softening market. And what we obviously realize right now is we are in a softening market trend. And we've been up here. In fact, we were up here at Unicorn Market. It was insane. And yet we're having a strong trend move back towards the middle. And the challenge is we don't know where it's going to stop, because it's, it is a trend going, from a vastly improving market to quite a softening market. And other factor is our competition. As I mentioned, if they were, in no man's land, we've missed out on a couple who perceive something else as a better offer. So the competition has been at force for us. And, we priced right now, we currently have your price at 365,000. And based upon the trend movement, we probably need to be willing to consider somewhere that market may be moving towards 350. I mean, if we needed to get you out of here all cash tomorrow, 290, and nobody should be testing the premiums of the market today because the trend is so pronounced. Now, the other factors that are going to influence the decision we make today, obviously, is you still want to get to where you're going, is what's the condition of the home. And, on a 10 scale, I mean, you're pretty much up there. You've got it staged, you've got it in great condition. I know living in a fishbowl, being ready every day for showings is kind of a job, and you guys are doing a great job. So condition, we're good. We're always looking at a scale of where we stand on condition. Now, if condition is a concern, what I would say is on the competition factor, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to look at all our competition as it stands today. And I would, after I explain this, okay, now let's go look at our competition very carefully. And I would pull up all the current competition that we're competing with. And by the way, competing with, it's not just their neighborhood, it's their neighborhood and any other neighborhoods that are of like type nature that somebody buying in their neighborhood would also consider. And I would scroll through every picture of the competing properties. And, how do you feel like this compares, to ours? Now, by the way, this one's been on the market for X amount of time and still hasn't sold. Or here's a new one that came on the market, and you scroll through. Now, the other factor is time. And I know you wanted to get to Houston by such and such date. The truth is right now, time is not our friend. Because here, let me share with you the data. And I would pull up this data that I'm about to share with you that is real data from San Antonio. And I would have you look at this, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is now a really pronounced trend where if we look at June, median price, look at our median price back in June, we were 337.5. And today we're at 321 at the end of October, 2-month supply, 3.1 month supply. That's a 4.9% reduction in median sales price in 4 months. Round it to 5 and call it 1.25% a month is the softening we've got in the market. So you see what that equates to. In their case, 365,000. I mean, let's do the math on 365,000. And if we do that, times 0.95, 346,750 is a 5% swing. And if we had been using comparable data from back in June-ish, that really validates that maybe even a little less than this might be necessary. This would certainly get us back in the game. And yet, if it's 1.25% a month, That's a little, that's what, 3,700 plus more, almost 4,000 a month in decline that we could expect if that continued. Now, do we expect that to continue? We don't know. The thing we do know is that you want to be to such and such within a certain time. And the question we have to ask is, given the trend that now has revealed itself, it looked like it was stabilizing a little bit, and yet we're seeing a 5% drop in 4 months. We've got to get out in front of that. And, I know, but here's the good news. The good news, now, by the way, the good news, I'm going to go back to my information. The good news is, October of 2021, it was 300,000 was the median price. And so we go back to October 2020, it was 255. So we're giving back some of our big gains. The thing is, let's not give back more than we need to by making maybe a really aggressive decision today to make sure we get you moved to Houston. And the exciting part is you get to go buy in Houston in a market that is also soft. So you get to buy in the same market you're selling. So based upon the trends, based upon the fact that we still are committed to getting to Houston, I'm going to recommend that 350 is probably the highest we go. If we want to get really assertive, maybe 340 ish might be a number to explore. What would you like to do? And then leave it in their hands. And here's what I find. People can't say no to their own goals. They generally, if you can explain this well enough, they'll make a good decision. And let me get the right camera up. They'll make a good decision that's going to get them where they want to go. They want to accomplish their goal. Your job is to have the conversation necessary to make sure that that happens. And as a fiduciary, we have a duty to have these uncomfortable conversations. It ain't about you. It's not about me. It's about them. And that means have the uncomfortable conversations and yet have a way to have it. What we just laid out for you, these are the factors that influence the market and influence price. You have a pronounced trend that you can go to that shows we've had a 5%, 4.9% decline in 4 months, or 1.25% per month. There's no reason to say that trend isn't going to let up. We are having still net gains in inventory, which means people may come in to undercut. The real strategy here is when you look at the competition, is price it to be the next one sold in its competing market. Because if it's not the next one, if something else goes and it means another month or another 2 months for your client's property, that could be another 1.25%, or another 2.5% that's going to get lopped off of this thing because we didn't make a decision to get in front of the market. All right, trust that helps. And then, of course, the third video is going to take you through what's the conversation from the very beginning that sets all this up so that these conversations are quite simple to have when we need to have them, or we may never need them to happen because we made really great decisions from the very beginning. Trust that's helpful. See you. Bye.